Welcome. The purpose of this video is to walk you through how to do an SBCLink. Now an SBCLink is used to recreate bad data. So you don't just think, oh, I'm bored, I'm going to run into the system and do an SBCLink. You would do an SBCLink if, number one, someone at SBC suggested that you do one. Number two, you ran integrity checks and found that you have some errors, and so you needed to do an SBCLink. Or number three, you have an error that you know an SBCLink would fix, and that would be from a situation where you had that error in the past. To get to the menu, I'm going to start by going into Y, my system utilities. I'm then going to go into number 9, my universal file utilities. And finally, letter A, recreate key file, or do an SBCLink. So an SBCLink is done when you need to recreate the key file in a data record. So what this means, although you don't need to know this, is that when you have a data record, when I have a record in my AR or a part in my inventory, there are two sides to this record. One is the data file and one is the key file. The data file is obviously the data, and the key file is kind of how you identify the record. So sometimes the key files are missing, sometimes they're corrupted. This could be from a price update, from an import. Sometimes they just naturally occur. And if you think about this as an error, this is like a mosquito bite. It's a problem, but it's not a huge problem, and it's not going to stop you from doing business in most cases. If it is, we run the SBCLink, it recreates that key file, and you're back to work in a series of minutes. So this is a small issue. So on my screen, you're going to see the same information on yours. The only place that there would be a difference is in the yellow area. The yellow area is listing all of the files that are open in SBC that I can run an SBCLink over. You may have different files open on your system, so you might see different file names in your list here. So number 1, batch process, yes or no. Now I always like to watch this happen, so I would always say batch process no to make sure that my SBCLink actually occurs. If you need to do this after hours and you're going to be unavailable, you could absolutely say batch process yes and have it run in the background. Hard copy, yes or no. If you needed to run it at night, maybe you want to say yes for a hard copy just to make sure that it actually ran. Again, if I'm going to run this to my screen, I don't need a hard copy. That's just wasted paper for me. And then on the far right, if you see this message, you only would if you have a multi-store situation going on. Enter store to recreate. This is asking about files that you actually have a file per location. So you would have file per store files in your quantity on hand history, maybe your part tracking by account, your manufacturer file, perhaps your tax file. So in the case that you were doing an SBCLink for your quantity on hand history file and you were doing it during the day and you didn't want to kick out all of your stores, you just wanted to kick out one of your stores if that was required, then you could come up here and enter the store number of the file that you wanted to recreate. Now many times if I'm running this over inventory or my archive or my part tracking by account, I'm going to kick everybody out of the system just because it'll go faster and because then I know that there aren't any people in any of the files that would be affecting my SBCLink. So in that case, I always leave it all asterisks so that it recreates everybody. It doesn't hurt to recreate all files even if you have a problem at just one location. So once I'm in the yellow, I'm going to put an X next to the file I want to run the SBCLink for. So in this case, I'm going to run it over ARF because my inventory is huge and it would take a couple of minutes to run. You can choose as many of these files to run at the same time as you'd like. Keep in mind, the more files that you have open or the more files that you plan to run, the longer the SBCLink might take. So if you're doing it in the middle of the day, you might want to just choose the file that's actually the problem. I can either press my enter key or I can hit my home key to the bottom of the screen, and then I'm going to press the enter key to run my file. And you'll see in the upper left hand corner it says file already open. this means that nothing happened. My SBCLink didn't go through. So we'll have customers who call, they tried to fix something in the middle of the day. They said, I went in and ran an SBCLink. It said file already open, and then I went back into my file and I had the same problem. That's exactly right. File already open means that the file is already open and it can't be recreated because it needs to be closed or inaccessible for that file to be recreated. So I'm going to go out to my prompt and I'm going to buy off all of my tasks. If you need help with this step, please call us. We can walk you through what to do here. Once I've bought off all of my tasks, all I should see at the top of the screen is the task that I'm on. Now that file is completely unlocked. There's no one touching it. There's no one accessing it. And when I say no one accessing it, I'm including the process batch, which would update my inventory and my AR. Basically, if anybody's in point of sale, almost all of your files are being accessed except for like your purchasing program and your scheduler. So if you have people on point of sale and you need to do a major file, inventory, AR, your archive, you're going to need to kick everybody off of point of sale. I'm going to go to System Utilities, my Universal File Utilities, and then letter A, Recreate File. I'm going to enter through these fields and put an X in front of ARF and run it again, and this is what I want to see. Now the only thing that I'm really concerned with is the completed hit escape to acknowledge line that's at the bottom of the screen. However, some of the other information might be useful. Bad records deleted or data read errors. If those have positive numbers, you might want to call us and ask us what that's about. But basically, this is recreating all of that information, and this is a successful SBCLink because it's telling me it's completed at the bottom of the page. If I had run an SBCLink over multiple files, you're simply going to see those listed here on the screen, and there's 3 columns where they would be listed. So at this point, all I need to do is escape out of my menu. I'm going to go and let everybody back on the system. So whether I'm just going to go click on my task 1 icon to bring up everybody that had been kicked off the system, or whether I'm going to close my task here myself and then restart task 1 for everybody, that's a decision that you can make on the fly. It doesn't really make any difference. If you have any questions on running an SBCLink, please give us a call. We can be reached at 800-829-4722 or sbctraining@autolog.com. Thank you so much for your time.